Hey everybody, first off, thank y'all for being here. I see a lot of familiar faces, which is always, I can't see all that well, but I feel you in the room. Thank you for joining our session today. We are here talking about unlocking best-in-class scale, experience, and service within the retail media industry. And I'm Mandy, I'm Mandy Adams. I am the Senior Director of Monetization at Orange Apron Media, which is Home Depot's retail media arm. And I am joined by phenomenal partners, yes, and humans. Yes, I've got Aran Hamilton, the CEO of Vantage. I've got, yes, much deserved. Andreas Reiffen, our CEO at Pentaleap. And Melanie Babcock, who is a longtime friend, partner in crime, and also my boss. She's the VP of Orange Apron Media and Monetization at Home Depot. So, yes, all the applause. Yes, thank you all for being here again. Before I start peppering these fine folks with questions, I am just going to hand it over to Melanie for a minute to ground everybody in who we are at Orange Apron Media and why we're on this stage today. So, Melanie, do you want to chat with us about that a little bit?
Chat a little bit. Is everyone familiar with Home Depot's retail media network? Everyone's like, there's a couple of you. All right. All right. Did it advance because I see nothing? Yeah? No? Nothing? Oh, you see something and I... Oh, it's faces. Guess what? I see nothing up here. So I'm just going to... Can I just...
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to do one of these. I'm going to lean. It's going to be super fun. Well, this is us, but before we get started, we're a specialty retail media network, and I know a lot of people, you hear about the big retail media networks out there, but, we're pretty big too. We're the Home Depot, we're that small little home improvement store down the street, and we have a little over 2,000 stores, and we've got quite the growing and advancing retail media network, and we just want to show you a little bit about who we are and why what we're talking about today is so important, not only to the Home Depot and our suppliers and obviously to our partners, but I think we're really charting a course for how retail media will operate, especially with we call them suppliers, other people call them CPGs, but our customers, our advertising customers. So Home Depot, we have over 200 million customers. Literally cannot see this slide. I'm going to put you on the side of my eye. We're the #1 home improvement brand in North America, and we have over 3.5 million visits. Billion. Seriously, I can't even see it. There's nothing up here.
There we go.
Visits to our sites.
There we go.
There it is. You guys, you need speaker notes annually. So we are one of the top e-commerce sites in America. Frankly, bigger than some of our mass partners out there, mass retail partners. So we attract people who need to solve problems in their home, so homeowners, as well as pros or contractors, people who have businesses that help people solve problems in their homes. Those are our primary customers. And those customers shop us in a way that is very different than a mass retailer or an e-commerce retailer. They're looking to buy products, and they're looking to and they are in projects, and so they have a much different buying life cycle. So when we think about our retail media network, we have to think about how we are serving those two customer segments, and then how do we bring our suppliers closer to those customer segments. And we have landed on 3 pillars to really operate the Orange Apron Media business from. I guess I can sit back down now that I've got it. It is scale, experience, and service. And so for us, the apron, which is, if you've been to a Home Depot store, you will see people to help you who wear an orange apron. So that is really why we call ourselves the Orange Apron Media team. But really it's about the scale that we just showed you, and also the experience. And today we're going to talk to you more about the experience that we are innovating and launching for our suppliers. We really thought about how do we want to differentiate ourselves in the market, and experience kept coming back as one of those pillars. And then how do we find partners in the marketplace that will help us bring this experience vision to life. You will meet these partners because frankly, our customers do not shop in a linear pattern. If any of you have done any form of home improvement project in your home, It probably took twice as long, maybe not twice the price, I hope not. But it is a hard journey to go on because it's the first time you've personally been on that journey. And so it's not a very linear experience. So how do we bring our suppliers into that customer experience? And it has to begin with the experience that we provide to them to connect with them across all the different shopping touch points. And that's inclusive of our off-site partners, off-site media partners, where they are attracting customers to come to Home Depot, on our website, in our app, and in our stores. So all of those touch points are really important to our suppliers, and we have to bring that experience to them through advertising and through a unified customer experience for them. So with all that in mind, we went out and we said, how do we find partners in the land to help us bring this vision to life? And really our retail media network, which started about 2018 as an idea, kind of launched in 2019 and really became a pretty healthy business in 2020. How do we find partners to help us bring this vision to life? Because we started both off-site and on-site. Our ads you've been able to purchase ads in both through either a Meta experience or a Pinterest experience, as well as on HomeDepot.com. So we grew those businesses together, and then we had to think about how to unify those experiences. And we went out and found 3 phenomenal partners who shared that same vision and were willing to take their products and customize it to the Home Depot experience. So I'm very excited to have these partners with me on stage today to talk about how we came together to bring this to life. And let me tell you, this is not an overnight success story, although we all want it to be. But it's been a lot of work and we still have a lot to go. So anyway, we are introducing this week Orange Access. This is that unified experience where we're bringing our on-site, off-site, and offline, meaning our stores, ad units all together into a single experience and into a single platform for our suppliers to do a one-stop shop for media buying, planning, insights around our customers, reporting, billing. It's all one unified system. So we're going to talk to you about that today. Oh, here, like I already talked about it. So unified platform experience, self-serve reporting, optimizing performance, bringing in creative technology, and doing some guided campaign setups. So you have to remember that our suppliers are the big guys out there that you think of, like a Kohler or a Samsung, but we also have thousands of small suppliers who may only have 1 to 3 products. I always call them Melanie's Plumbing and Supply, but frankly, that's true, and they don't know anything about how to buy an ad. And so we have to help them succeed inside of Home Depot. So we have to think about everyone from the big guys all the way down to the small, and we believe Orange Access provides this capability for every supplier at Home Depot to be successful. That's it. That's our story.
Here we are.
So just wanted to level set.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Well, tech stack. We talked a lot about our partners. So I'm actually going to start with Aran. You first, buddy. Sorry, you're on the hot seat. So everybody talks about tech stack. Can you explain? It's all very complicated, right? I know most people in this room probably know a lot about technology, but for the layman's, can you explain how the Vantage technology plays a role in the Orange Apron Media ecosystem for the folks in the room?
Well, I think the thing that we have to remember is that really now, as of the tail end of 2024, retail media is no longer a siloed business on the side of retail. It is becoming an integral part of the overall retail business model. And in order to help support Home Depot in the goals that Melanie just outlined, it really required an opportunity, us to kind of take the opportunity to really unify the various teams. We count there's about 10 different teams across Home Depot that have to come together and support retail media, and there were about 8 different pieces of technology that were required in order to run an ad. Ad campaigns were taking about a day to pull together, and that was not going to scale to the number that Melanie and the team really wanted to hit. So really what Vantage does is we we act as an orchestration layer to unify those teams, integrate those technologies. In Canada, in Home Depot Canada, we've helped them since the beginning with the launch because they were further behind than you. But with Home Depot in the US, we've been working to help scale that business. And really what that means, to Melanie's point, is that unified front end for self-service people to be able to do it themselves. A little different kind of a DIY there. But also on the managed service as the back end for all the managed service offerings that apron wearers can help their largest brands, vendors, to want to orchestrate those campaigns. And I think we've been able to achieve a higher level of service, a better experience, and really unify those teams across the organization.
I concur. Andreas, okay, how would you answer that question? Talk to us about Pentaleap and how you all fit into the tech stack at Orange Apron Media.
Maybe let's take a tiny little step back.
Go for it, yeah.
Melanie identified the two most important problems that limit the scale of many retail media networks. The first one is about fragmentation, and this is what Aran just said. It's no longer just this one channel. Sponsor products might still contribute to 75% of Amazon's revenues, but there are these offsite channels as in-store, so somehow you need to orchestrate those different things. So now imagine you're sitting in this sports car and you have this clean display in front of you, your dashboard where you can steer all things, but you turn on the engine and all you hear is some average Toyota, let's say. So what I'm talking about is the engine that actually not only drives the lion's share of the ad revenues, but also 20 billion in annual e-com revenues. And the question is, how can you actually scale ads on site, specifically sponsored products, in a way so that you give your advertisers room to place their products while, and that's the key point, not losing your users. So in the end, there are people who come in that need to search, find, and buy something. So this is a single point of failure. So, and this is exactly the point where our tech comes into play. We essentially offer 3 components. It's an ad server that is very deeply integrated with Home Depot's search and personalization AI. So it makes sure that it's a seamless experience, that you can scale up ads without cluttering the experience. The second point is a publisher manager, which is not what Aran does, which is brand facing, but it's on the Home Depot side where you can configure how many ads do you want to run, what do your ad units look like, how can you scale up, show more ads or less ads, how you can set floor prices, how you can test whether one setup works better than the other. And the last component is what Aran needs. That's an API where he can plug in to basically help brands steer those campaigns. And this is how this whole thing all works together.
Turns out. Okay, Melanie,
Yes.
back to you. So you and I have been on this journey for, gosh, over a decade at Home Depot, but you started Orange Apron Media in 2018. I joined shortly thereafter. For the folks in the room who are listening in today, what advice, we've talked a lot about control, flexibility, what advice would you give other retail media leaders about how they think about the infrastructure and the technology infrastructure that they need to build to have a successful retail media network today?
That's a great question. We've been through many iterations of our technology roadmap to get to this point. And I think that we've learned so much along the way. Sometimes those learnings have been easy and fun, and sometimes they've been hard and painful, but that's okay. You still learn nonetheless. And it really comes down to our strategy, and our strategy was to maintain our customer experience and to offer our suppliers the easiest way to get in front of that customer on some of these more difficult project journeys. And so when we looked at how we had to honor the customer experience, because at Home Depot, it's number one. We even have it on our aprons as our customer experience is our most important value. And so we had to step back and go, how do we build a tech stack around that? Ours comes in through the form of our website, right? We're a retailer. It comes in through the website or in the form of the app or in form of the stores. But other retail media networks may not have an e-commerce site, right? They may have a car, for instance. So it's really about what that strategy is and the customer experience that you want to develop. But from a technology perspective, it's really about, I'm going to steal this from you, And that is structured data. Number one, Mandy's going to be structured data for Halloween this year. Structured data, because it has been quite a journey where we have learned that that has been a difficult thing for us, and we had to build technology to structure our data. And then how do you find technology that grows with you? I don't know how many of you work in a big company like a Home Depot, but we have quite a rigorous schedule around IT and and our product and how we build things. And unfortunately, an ad network doesn't follow and doesn't fit into that bill because we have to constantly iterate. And so for us, with the technology in mind, we actually have gone down many roads to get to this road. And this road, I think the most important piece of it is that flexibility in the technology and the ability for it to scale beyond what we can even imagine today. And so if you're starting out in this journey, yes, you need a strategy, but more, you need a platform that you don't even know what you need yet to meet your needs. I know that sounds weird, but that's where we have landed, because we honestly just feel like we have such an opportunity to serve our customer in unique ways, and that technology has to meet that customer experience.
Couldn't agree more. And with great partners to
Yes.
boot, so yeah. Andreas, I'm gonna go to you next. Okay, you have a ton of experience in this industry. You've seen a lot of different players, talked to folks, on every side of the coin. How do you feel like what we're building here at Orange Apron Media stacks up against, how we differentiate ourselves against the competitors in the space, whether it's on the tech side or broader?
Yeah, I have to repeat a few points Melanie just said. I think in the early days, many companies chose this one-fits-all solution. And you get something that, has an ad server and has some UI, and it works pretty well. But it's not excellent, and there's a lot of diversity currently in the market, and you find components of a tech stack that work much better, and there is a way to stitch them together. So Home Depot chose a best-of-breed modular approach, which is probably not only less expensive, but it's also much more flexible and it's much more powerful. And yeah, it's become much easier than years before to actually play it this way. And we will see lots of others taking a similar path. So the second point is it's a different breed of ad server. Usually sponsored products, for example, are managed in a silo. So there's some algorithm, rather not overly sophisticated, that pushes ads into the website. But that's not really curated. That's not really personalized. And if you just drag down the conversion rate a little bit, you cause more damage on the retail side than what you bring in by selling ads. And so it's highly customized towards the Home Depot needs, and so is the front end. So it's also a tailor-made solution for Home Depot. And the third piece, I think it's more of a people aspect. Melanie has built a large organization with lots of people who know exactly what to do. They are product people, they are engineering people, they are strategy people, they are sales. So the level to which this is built in-house is much greater than with most other companies who have tried to follow Amazon and rebuild this. So it's very innovative and definitely ahead of what we are seeing in the market.
Love to hear it. Aran, I'm tossing that question to you, sir. What do you think? You've got the experience in Canada, obviously well versed in retail media. How do you feel like we're differentiated in the marketplace?
Well, I think Andreas said something really, really important there, and building on what Melanie said, that the fact is that being able to pick and choose the best of breed technologies and put them together, and I think that you have been able to design an experience that was going to really work for your buyers and the people that wanted to advertise, and then ultimately going to work for the consumers as well. It seems to me that Home Depot is leaning into a big challenge, and it doesn't surprise me because you don't seem the kind of people to back away. But the fact is that I talk to a lot of retailers out there, and they all say the same problem. They're having the same problem scaling their retail media offering. It either comes down to, some combination, often all three, having a hard time scaling the people, having a hard time scaling the processes, or having a hard time scaling the technology. And unfortunately, all too often having a hard time with all three of those. And I think that when you look at those 10 teams that you have there at the Home Depot, which is pretty symbolic across the industry, you know, there's a lot of work to bring those together and then to integrate the technologies, great market-leading technologies that those people want to work with. And you don't have to compromise, and Home Depot isn't compromising. And when you say you're looking to drive operational excellence, you're achieving operational excellence. When you say you want an easy-to-use experience, you're getting an easy-to-use experience. And when you're saying that you want to build a platform unified under Vantage that allows for that path to purchase to be planned for all those different touch points that Melanie outlined, you're getting it. And I think that's really important. There's no compromise going on here, and I think it's really great to see this market-leading solution.
Awesome. Talk about the path to purchase. Melanie, when you had one of the slides that referenced like the nonlinear customer journey, how do you feel about the convergence of in-store, off-site, and on-site all coming together from the advertiser's perspective? Where do you see that going?
It must converge.
Yeah.
You know what I love about our suppliers is how vocal they are. And they are, and it's because they have choice, and they have choices to go other retail media networks. And so for us, we need to win their favor as much as they need to be in our stores. It's a true kind of two-way relationship. And when you think about our stores are 90% of our traffic. You know, we all think about the app, and we think about that website, and boy, are those really important things in our business, but the stores at the end of the day is where the majority of our customers go. And, you know, we're still on a big journey of figuring out how to monetize our stores. We are in a working warehouse. At any moment, a forklift can drive right past you. I don't know the last time you've been in a mall and a forklift drove by you, but that does pose challenges to us because we are a working and operating warehouse. And frankly, we can't even wear open-toed shoes to our stores. It's actually against our SOP. That's how much of a working warehouse that we're in. And so how do we then bring advertising into a space that really wants a digital interface for that ad? And so the convergence of the store into, now that we've mastered the site in our app, the store is really the biggest, I wouldn't say last, but biggest opportunity for us to explore. And we have to get there. We have to bring them all together, or else our suppliers will think we're giving them not a full solution.
Makes sense.
And it's really for those who do have stores. Frankly, I don't know anyone who's actually said, oh, we've got this solved, because it's so complicated. But ultimately, I think with the technology stack that we have, it's going to allow us to think bigger and differently about how we measure an in-store ad, how we deliver that ad, how we ensure the viewability of that ad. There's so much to it, more than I ever thought possible. And I think that that's going to be probably the biggest area for us to unlock with our suppliers.
Okay. I'm going to take a step back and go a little bit broader. So I'm going to toss it over to Aran. So Melanie talked about the store, retail media is more than the store, more than just the website. How do you feel like, and where do you see retail media transforming the retail industry, given the disruption already, like I said, on-site and in-store? Like, what's your take on that?
You know, without resorting to hyperbole, I really think that we are at a really interesting moment of change in the retail industry overall. I think the business model is fundamentally changing for market leaders. There are always going to be mom and pop shops that are, do buy low at wholesale and then sell on the retail street. But for large organizations like the Home Depot, the business model is fundamentally changing. And what started off as a bit of an experiment, a bit of a skunkworks project that you've been slaving at for a number of years, is really transforming the way that retailers think. And it's data-driven, and it's incorporating all those different touch points. It's very much focused on that operational excellence and using data really effectively, and sharing data and making it accessible, which is another change to the industry. The industry has traditionally been very, this is our data, you stay away, and I think that we're finding ways, the key words that I said to Brandon when we started this company was, we need the technology to be robust, scalable, and privacy respectful. And the fact is that as we find organizations that really, have those same values-driven kind of approaches, like the Home Depot, very values-driven, you guys are embracing big change to your model, and I think retail media is going to be a big part of it.
Andreas, how would you answer that question?
So first of all, confirming what Aran just said, it has definitely changed the business model in retail.
Yeah.
Former times, you bought products, put them in a warehouse, and you sold them at a margin. Today, you need this second high margin revenue stream. If you look at Amazon, for example, you can see the growth of their ad revenues, but also the growth of their ad spend. And this is roughly equal, so they spend exactly the amount they cash in. So I would say if you don't do retail media today as a multi-brand retailer, it's going to be very, very hard to survive. Retail media is kind of a function of e-com revenues. So you have to grow your retail business in order to sell more on the media side as well. So back to your question, what trends do I see? I do believe the fragmentation problem is massive, and we can partially address this through having this unified front end in one walled garden. So walled garden is, for example, Home Depot selling ads to the suppliers within this environment. But then we have in the US market currently, I think, 150 different retail media networks. And for some smaller brands that sell across multiple of those, it's going to be very hard to talk to 50 or 100 different salespeople. So there will be a more programmatic approach. And I predict that we will see companies like Google and Microsoft also stepping in and featuring those sponsored products and be connected into those walled gardens at some point. So we have a hybrid game, direct sales, unified front end, which will probably, in the case of Home Depot, be the lion's share, but some backfill through network. And we will see traditional digital advertising converging with retail media and won't have this clear separation any longer at some point.
Last question. So Melanie, what are your predictions? We talked about the transformation and how retail media is really transforming the retail industry. What other predictions do you think, it's our favorite question, what do you have from a prediction standpoint?
I'm going to change my answer on you than what we discussed.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
You'll allow it. Right-hand person here. I have to reveal my questions. Now, I purposely called myself in monetization in my title because I do think that retailers know how to sell good products. I mean, we can sell faucet like no one else, let me tell you. Lumber, we can sell lumber. But we have so many other things to sell that I don't think we've even thought about yet. Yeah. First-party data is the common theme, and that's why everyone participates in retail media networks. And if you didn't have access to that, you wouldn't deal with us because we're hard to deal with because we're growing. You go to a more established company. But it's more than that. I think that we have a lot to uncover and discover about what is monetizable at our company. When you own more information about someone in their home, we actually have an ID on our customer, an ID on their home. The home isn't a separate identity in our database. Like, we have a lot of things that we can think about from a monetization perspective that would be appealing to not just a supplier, but maybe a non-endemic supplier, right? Who is like a financial services company or an automobile company. We have parking lots. Have you ever eaten a hot dog out of a Home Depot? I mean, for some reason, it's really good. So we've got so many customers coming every day. We just need to think differently about what is the Home Depot in a monetizable format, as a monetizable strategy. And I think that there's so much green field there, and that needs to be mowed with a lawnmower and treat it with some grass seed. Click on an ad first and then buy it. But there's so much to think about with a platform like Home Depot, because it's no longer a store, it's a platform. And that changes the face of what retail media networks can mean for a retailer like Home Depot.
What I really like about what you're saying there, Melanie, is the fact that you're taking an approach. What's that?
Click on ads.
Well, yeah, it's more ads, and aside from the little ad for Scott's in there, but I think there was, Home Depot's taking, going back to its roots with that values-based approach, and I think that you're taking an approach that is, privacy respectful, and you're taking an approach that is natural and not weird. And we saw very early retail media take us in weird directions, but the fact that Home Depot is such a trusted brand, it is one of the most trusted brands out there, and you take that trust seriously. And I think that's a really important part of the core of Orange Apron Media.
Yep, thank you, I appreciate that.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that actually wraps up our time today. What a wonderful discussion. I think trust, ending on the word trust is a good one, because I think that these partners are amazing to Melanie and myself, and we've put a lot of trust in you and the future of our partnerships and our business. So just want to thank Andreas and Aran, and again, my sidekick in life, Melanie, and all of you for being with us today. So thank you all so much, and
Appreciate
enjoy
it.
your ad week.
Thank you.